This is the new Lamborghini Temerario, the replacement for the legendary and long-serving Huracan.
It's a new Lamborghini with a new design, new technology, and new ways of making extreme power, so of course it should be cause for massive excitement.
But so far, for some reason, the Temerario's left me slightly cold.
On paper, the Temerario has had something of a downgrade when it comes to what powers it, trading in the legendary naturally aspirated V10 found in the Huracan for a smaller, turbocharged V8.
And that means it doesn't have that iconic sound. It sounds like a V8, a turbocharged V8. Nothing wrong with that, of course, but it's not very Lamborghini, is it?
And not only is it turbocharged, it's also electrified, sporting a new plug-in hybrid powertrain that relies on batteries and a motor to help it achieve thrust.
It's even got shock of all shocks and EV mode. Listen to this. Yeah, pure silence. How weird.
And it's also not the best looking Lamborghini, at least not to my eyes.
And then there's the name, Temerario. Apparently it means reckless in Spanish, and it's the name of a famous fighting bull. But I don't care how many people this particular cow killed, it just sounds a bit tame, doesn't it? Almost sounds like an item of ladies' clothing, like I'm gonna go and fetch my grandmother's Temerario because she's going to the horse racing later on. It's nowhere near as good as Huracan, is it? Or Diablo, or Countach. That just sounds like a step backward to me.
But one thing the Temerario should deliver, on paper at least, is phenomenal performance. And it's only right we have a go to see if that promise is true.
Okay. Thrust mode possible. Let's use it. Go! Oh! Oh my God! Wow! That is fast! Jesus wept! I don't even know what speed I'm doing, but this thing is flying! That's nuts! It's moving around a little under braking, but that's so fast! So fast! I think it's just rearranged my insides. Hey, yo!
It turns out fast was an understatement. The fastest I'd ever been on that particular stretch of tarmac was around 185 miles an hour. The Temerario took me to over 200 miles an hour without even trying. 0 to 62 happens in a staggering 2.7 seconds, 0 to 124 in 7.3, and it just keeps pulling. All because of the power. Where the old Huracan offered between 600 and 640 horsepower, this thing gives you a whopping 920. More power than a McLaren P1, and it's all down to the powertrain.
At the heart of the Temerario is a twin turbocharged 4-litre V8, but it's not the same V8 that you get in many VW Group products. This one has been built from the ground up in Santa Agata for this car. It's pretty special, and I'll show you why in just a moment, but it's not alone. It's also paired to a plug-in hybrid system, pretty much the same one you get in the Revuelto, and that means it's got 2 electric motors on the front axle and a 3rd electric motor inside the housing of the V8, and together they make big power, and I do mean big, 920 PS. But the power is only half the story. The Temerario doesn't rely massively on electrification. The engine, by itself, makes an astonishing 800 PS. That's 160 horsepower more than what you got with the V10 in the Huracan. And that's crazy because it's 2 cylinders down, but it's also 2 turbos up. And that means it is astonishingly powerful. Those turbos are running huge boost as well, 2.5 bar. Now ordinarily that might result in huge turbo lag, but that's where the hybrid system comes in. Let me demonstrate, right? I'll slow it down. 4th gear, 2000 RPM, we'll punch it, and the electric motor starts you moving. Beyond about 4,000 RPM, it's the internal combustion engine that begins to take charge, and it just flies.
And because it's the V8 that delivers most of the thrust, it doesn't feel overtly electrified. It still feels like a Lamborghini. And boy, does it rev to obscene levels.
Right, I really want to show you what this engine does when you rev it out. It's very difficult to use unless you find a long enough, straight enough section of road. But I'll find one. Right, here we go. Second gear into a straight. 7, 8, 9, 10,000 RPM. Whoa, whoa. That is just stratospheric. I'm doing that again. Here we go. 7, 8, 9, 10,000 RPM doing 90 miles an hour in second gear. That is just nuts. It's absolutely nuts. Where are you going to get to use that on the public road? You're just not, but my goodness, that's addictive. Wow. Wow. See, the thing about the Temerario is that it's not like normal electrified vehicles. It pays you to rev it out, to keep your foot pinned for as long as possible. And the thing is, peak power comes in at what, 9,000, 9,500 RPM? So you get that huge reward from just flooring the thing and letting the engine do the work. Wow. I'd read about it, but now I'm feeling it. I believe it. This is nuts. You really have to get used to using all the revs, because I'm programmed as a driver, and I'm sure you guys are as well, to listen for the engine tone and frequency to decide when to change up. And normally in a turbocharged car, that's somewhere around sort of 5, 6, maybe 7,000 RPM. So you find yourself in the Temerario changing up at maybe 7,000 RPM, maybe a bit less, because that's what you're used to. But no, this car, it can go on for much longer, much higher, much harder. Wow, this is insane. Right, another straight, I'm doing it again. Send it! Oh my Lord! This is a drug. This is insanity. This is amazing.
What's less amazing is the sound. Perhaps we've been spoiled by Lamborghini over the years with its V10 and V12 engines, but the Temerario uses a V8, and it's altogether quite different.
At low revs in the lowest power mode in Strada, it does sound a little bit like maybe a diesel. But you know what? That's sort of the way the world is going. Like, engines just sound like that nowadays due to various regulations. But put it into Corsa mode and let the big dog sing. Completely different story. That V8 actually sounds terrific. It doesn't roar. That's a flat plane crank screamer. Love it. Oh! This thing's mental.
The Temerario also has a dedicated EV mode. Because its hybrid system is essentially the same as you get in the Revuelto, it uses a 3.8 kilowatt-hour battery that can, for a short time, propel the car on batteries alone. It's pretty pointless though. Just 6 to 7 miles of range on a full charge. Its main purpose is to add performance, especially at low revs.
And there's bags of that, bags. Honestly, the amount of shove this car generates is just maniacal. It's insane.
Although I wish the same could be said of the design. It's a pretty enough car, perhaps even better looking than its nearest rival, the Ferrari 296 GTB, but for me, it falls short of the Huracan by some distance. Downsides? Well, there's something a bit weird about the front proportions. The super thin headlights and the very large hexagonal DRLs almost look like they come from separate cars. Although there's some nice detailing in the fact the headlight surrounds are an aero part. The proportions in profile are undeniably spectacular though, with a great look at the side and a terrific back end.
This bit, really nice. My favorite angle by far. It's got this centrally mounted exhaust outlet with 2 tailpipes. We've also got a massive diffuser down below, which sticks out an absolute mile, giving the car kind of a long tail look. Because they've gone for a V8 engine instead of a V10, that's given them more space underneath to have an even bigger diffuser for more downforce. We've also got these hexagonal rear lights, which look amazing, but probably the best bit on this car is this exposed rear wheel section. It kind of reminds me of a superbike. That just looks fantastic.
This particular car comes with the optional Allegrita lightweight package, a performance option for track driving. It reduces the car's weight by 25 kilograms thanks to carbon fiber on the splitter, the side skirts, the engine cover, and other components. The package also increases downforce by 67%. Expect to pay a £40,000 premium for that, bringing the total cost to around £300,000.
The interior of the Temerario feels pretty similar to the Huracan, to be honest with you, but it's been brought up to date slightly, and it still encompasses Lamborghini's feel like a pilot philosophy. In other words, when you get in, you feel like you're in a fighter jet of some kind. And of course, you've still got this start-stop button underneath this very, very dramatic flap. We've got a floating center console, very aggressive looking dashboard, but the biggest takeaway is that the car feels much more comfortable than before. We've got a longer wheelbase compared to the Huracan, which means that you get a lot more room inside for your legs and also for your head. You've got these little indentations in the ceiling, which means that when you're wearing a helmet, you actually fit and generally feel quite comfortable, with the one downside being the driving position. I find that my left foot on the footrest is a bit too far forward compared to my right foot, but it's a small gripe. In terms of creature comforts, there's a few of those. You've got a couple of USB ports down there. You've got space for your mobile phone. You've also got this above the glove box. Look, pop out cup holders. How cool is that? The whole thing is quite usable compared to a lot of supercars, and in terms of technology, there's a lot of that as well. We've got 3 separate displays, one up here for your driver information, one for your infotainment, and another for the passenger. A little bit more about this. It's got a few cool features, including the ability to swipe apps from the center to the left or to the right. So if I go into my shortcuts, what I can do is move different apps from the middle onto the driver's screen or the passenger screen. So the passenger can see how much G-force we're pulling, or as a driver, I can see exactly what my tire temperatures are. Very clever.
So, I quite like it. It's a serious piece of equipment with serious tech behind it. But the Temerario also knows how to let its hair down. It's the first Lamborghini with a drift mode, allowing you to choose your drift angle from 3 levels. It's not quite as intuitive as a Huracan in this regard, but it does let you have a good time in a slightly safer manner.
It's not just the performance on the straights that's really impressive with the Temerario, it's also how it drives. There's a sort of delicate nature to the way that this car goes around the corner. The first thing you notice about it is the steering is incredibly light, it's fingertip stuff. But actually there's a little bit of feel in there, so it gives you confidence with the front axle. In an ideal world, I probably would want a bit more heft to the steering. It's probably a bit too light for my taste, but actually, because you get that feel, it does imbue you with a sense of confidence. Get in, look at that. My goodness, it's so precise as well. Pick your apex and bang, in it goes. Oh, yes. Beautiful. Agility is off the scale as well. There's that old conundrum with hybridized cars, isn't there? That they add extra weight, extra mass, and that robs a little bit of dynamism. This, I can't feel any real compromise in the handling. Stunning in the corners, it really is. So eager, and actually so easy to drive as well, so forgiving. Look at that, as I came out that corner, I put in too much power, and the ESC interrupted because it knew that I would light up those massive rear tires. So it does protect you from yourself if you're a little bit too eager. But on the whole, this car is on your side. It wants you. Oh my God, it eggs you on. It really does, to get the most out of it. And it's such a rewarding, fun, engaging piece of equipment. Really, really, really fun to drive. Stunning. Can you tell I'm loving this? Of course, when you got this much shove, you need really good brakes as well. And we've got 410mm carbon ceramics on the front. They do such a great job of scrubbing off your speed. And again, that adds to that sense of confidence you get from this car. Wow, you can just commit and trust that the car is on your side. I've got my windows steaming up here. Let me wind those down. Woo, it's getting hot in here. I'm having too much of a good time. Right, gearbox, twin clutch system, works really well in fact. What I love about it is that from sort of first to second, second to third, you change up, gives you that little shove in the back, eggs you on, rewards you for using the box. So even if you don't want to send the car up to 10,000 RPM and you just want to shift, that's also a lot of fun too. Oh, the change of direction is just immense. I've come to Millbrook many, many times, and I've got to say, this is probably the most fun I've ever had on this track. This thing is I don't know what the Italian is. This thing's nuts. It's brilliant. I love it.
Going a step further, and perhaps this is recency bias, but the Temerario feels like a watershed moment for Lamborghini. No other model has so completely fused everyday usability with savage speed, or paired such intoxicating power with performance you can actually exploit. In many ways, it doesn't just stand amongst the best Lamborghinis ever built, it may well be the best. Full stop.
At the start of this film, I said the Temerario left me a bit cold. I didn't quite understand it, but now I've got behind the wheel of one, seen it in the flesh, and had the pleasure of hustling this thing in anger. I understand now. This thing makes sense, it really does. They may have gotten rid of the V10 engine, maybe against their will, but what they've done is they've engineered a different solution. Twin turbocharged V8 hybrid, but rather than it being a compromise, it's the opposite. I'm gonna go out on a limb here, ladies and gentlemen. This engine is better than the one you got in the Huracan. It just is. I'm sorry. It might not be better sounding, but the way it feels, the way it revs, the way it screams, and the power it generates is just incredible. The Lamborghini Aventador is one of my favorite cars of all time, and this is like a baby Aventador in many ways, in the way that it kind of pulls you in, encourages you to push, and the aggression it has, especially when you're ringing it out at the top end. Yes, shades of Aventador, shades of brilliance. The Temerario is just a hell of a thing. Not just a fabulous replacement for the Huracan, it might also be the best Lamborghini on sale right now. Scratch that, it is.